one, I'm even going to be highlighter myself. This one says for the arithmetic sequence, so I know it's a sequence and I know it's arithmetic. How many formula options do I have?
3.
3 technically.
But 1 is the good one.
But 1 is the sequence one and 2 are sums, correct? So if it doesn't ask me for the sum, I have one option, right? So if you're like, but I don't know which one to use, you have one option. If it says arithmetic sequence, you have 3 options. If it's not a sum, you have one option. There's no other options other than that, right? So you should narrow yourself down as to which ones you're going to use. And I even left titles. Like, I was so kind, okay? Given the following of 1, 4, 7, and 10. I left the marks on here just so you could see what they would possibly be out of if it was on your final like this. Okay, your final. Wow, we're getting real far deep into this. I mean your unit test. Okay, so we want T8, and T is important, and 8 is important. So how many formulas do we have? Options.
1.
We have 1. And if you're stuck and you're like, I still don't know, write down what you do know, correct? So do we know T1? Yes, it is 1. What else do we know? We know N is what? 8. A lot of people don't remember that because it's just sitting on the T. Now it's arithmetic, so we also know what? D. Geometric has R's, which is term 2 divided by term 1. Arithmetic has D, which is term 2 minus term 1. We agree? So what's our D going to be? Yeah, 4 minus 1, which is 3. And they want me to find T8, which is technically like finding Tn with an 8 in it. Correct? Easiest question you could possibly get on the test, because you literally fill it in, type in your calculator, and you have an answer. Right? So you hope for these ones. So we know our formula. It's on the formula sheet. It's the very top one. It's Tn equals T1 plus n minus 1d. If at any point in time you struggled on a question, right? We go through it, or it took you a little bit to remember how to do it, or you need a little bit of a hint or something like that as you're going through it, because you're going to study from these as well as your notes, I would highlight the number and the letter, right? So that when you go through this, like if this was stupid easy and you don't need to study it, that's fine. You could look at it and be like, okay, it's good. If it's one you struggled on, I would highlight the number, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go back, you're going to cover up your answer with a piece of paper, and you're going to redo the question the night before the test, right? You might redo it tonight, and you might redo it tomorrow. You just cover up the answer. You don't leave the answer out for you, because what are you going to do if you have an answer? You're going to copy it. You're going to cheat. You're going to look at it. It's just what's going to happen, even if you don't mean to. So you will highlight it so you know to study it. I would study it tonight and tomorrow if it's a question that you forget, right? Then you cover over it and you redo that exact same question. Why do you redo a question? Some people will be like, can you give me 800 more of the same type? Why? Just cover the question up. And why do you cover up the question? Because what's underneath it? A correct answer. What if I give you a new one? Do you have a correct answer to check? No. Are you going to memorize that this is what? It doesn't matter. You're going to show all the work, right? So cover it up. Put the paper right there. Do it on the paper. I even put the paper sideways. Do my question. And then I check. And if it's right, I move on. If it's wrong, what do? Set it down. Try again. Until I get it right. And then the next day before the test, I'm going to do it again. So I can do it without making errors and without having to cheat. Because you might have to look and be like, oh, right, I have to find Tn first. I forgot. Or I have to find n first using Tn. I forgot, right? But you check. Okay. So we're going to do T8 equals T1, which is 1, plus n minus 1, which is 8 minus 1, times d, which is 3. So I get 1 plus 7 times 3, which is 22. If you got it right, put a check mark. If you got it wrong, fix it. If you found it really easy when you did it, don't highlight the questions. So I would leave 1A just the way it's sitting right now, because I found it easy, right? If you didn't find it easy, no problem. Highlight it. And you're going to do it tonight. Because your homework tonight is going to be this, proper studying techniques. So tonight, your homework is going to be going through and covering up the ones that you had highlighted that you didn't get. I'm also going to show you how to go through your notes and study as well after we go through this. Okay, that's going to be your work tonight, is proper studying. If your studying is this, number 1 is this. Yeah, sure, yep. I would have done that, and I would have got a 22. And you don't pick up a pencil or touch your calculator, you are not studying math. You are reading math weirdly. That's what you're doing. So you have to cover try yourself, type in calculator yourself, see if you get an answer. That's how you study math. If at any point in time you never pick up a pencil or your calculator throughout your studying, you are not studying. You have not, and the test can be bad. So I promise you, it'll be pretty ugly. Okay? T20. The only thing that changed here is n is 20. So we're going to do T20 equals T1, which is 1, plus 8 minus 1 times 3. So we get 1 plus 7 times 3, which is, oh my goodness, I put an 8 in. I followed the previous one. 20 minus 1, 19. I'm just erasing it. I'm just going to call it cut or loss. N minus 1, so 19. Oh my gosh! 20 minus 1. 19 times 3 is 57. 1 plus 57 is 50. I hope you know this.
8.
8. Yes. Very good. Now, if I ask for general term, what do you do? Tn stays Tn, n stays n, everything else gets filled in, correct? With arithmetic general terms, you're going to fill it in, distribute, collect like terms. With geometric general term, you fill it in and you're done. There's no distributing, there's no collecting like terms. So geometric is a little easier. So we know Tn is Tn. If you're like, when I saw general term, I didn't know what to do. If you're that human, what are you doing to this one? Highlighting it, which is probably half of you, at least. This is the one that everyone forgets about, so I'm going to highlight it, because I'm going to pretend that I didn't know how to do it. Because if there were to be one that people forget about, it's general terms. Okay. So Tn stays Tn, T1 is 1, and D is 3. So I get Tn equals T1 plus n minus 1 times 3. And then we don't stop here. We distribute the 3 through. Tn equals 1 plus 3n minus 3. Tn equals 3n minus 2. And then you have the general term. What does the general term help us find? Every term what? What is the general term helpful for? Yeah.
If it gives you a random term and you have to find it's like super far like down, you can just fill it in.
Yeah. So like term 100 done. 300 minus 2, 298. Right? Term 7,000. I just fill 7,000 in there minus 2. Right? 7,000 times 3, 21,000 minus 2 is 19,998. You can do it really quick. Right? That's what the general term is helpful for. Okay. We're highlighting again. Determine the number of terms. Number of terms means they're making me find what? N. So I'm going to put an N here. It's in bright, highlighter. So they're making me find. Don't do yours in bright highlighter. Okay, they're making me find the number of terms in an arithmetic sequence. That means I'm pulling from the 3 top equations, right? I have no options. What if it didn't say arithmetic? Do I actually have to say arithmetic in this one? I was being kind. Do I actually have to say arithmetic? No. You can check here. What's happening? 3, 5, 7. What's happening? You're adding. And if you're adding, it's what? Arithmetic. If you're multiplying, it's geometric. I did not have to say arithmetic here. And on the test, I'm not always going to say arithmetic and geometric. You might have to say, oh, it's going up by 2. Therefore, it's arithmetic. So, T1 is 3. D is 5 minus 3, which is 2. Tn is 129. We're looking for n. Which formula does this fit in those 3 arithmetic formulas? The top one, correct? So we have Tn equals T1 plus n minus 1d. Tn is 129. Equals 3 plus n minus 1 times 2. Subtract the 3 first. Honestly, a lot of people can fill these in and then their math is bad. So make sure you can reverse bed math. 126 n minus 1 times 2. Then what I do next is I divide by 2. And I get 63 equals n minus 1. And then I add 1. And n equals 64. N can't be a decimal, correct? Unless it was a word problem. Sometimes we got N as a decimal, then we'd round up or round down. Because it'd be like, is this a year that it lands on the moon, or the meteor lands here, or whatever. We did a question like that. Okay. If you didn't find that one problem, don't highlight it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't look at it still. Doesn't mean you shouldn't study it still, but it might be a quick study, right? You might just do one of them or something. You might do it the night before. Okay, here we have T1 equals negative 29, Tn equals 126, D equals negative 24 minus a minus 29. So that means add, so I get 5. And then we're looking for N. So Tn 126 equals negative 29 plus N minus 1 times 5. Add 29. I get 155 equals N minus 1 times 5. Divide by 5, and what do we get? 31. Add 1, and we get 32. So highlight it if you struggled. Don't if you didn't. A lot of people will say it's negative 5, and that's where they make an error. Number 3 says determine the common difference. So they want D and the first term. They want T1 of the arithmetic sequence. So I know I have 3 options. Sequence means I kind of only have one. Given the following. So I gave you this one. I would highlight it. This one I think a lot of people, until I drew the blanks, didn't have a clue how to do the question. This would be one that's 97% of you should be highlighting. So if I give you this or I give you the blanks, if I give you this, draw out the blanks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, T5 is 16, 7, 6, 7, 8, T8 is 25. If people draw this, they have a 97% chance of doing better on this question, approximately. I'm just guessing. But if people draw it out, more people can get the question right. So, remember when we don't know T1, we take a portion. Because now we know N is what? 4, and now we have T1 is 16, and Tn equals 25. Are those the real T1s and Ns? No, but those help us get what? D, right? Can we use the Tn formula? Tn equals T1 plus N minus 1D. Tn is 25. T1, or pretend T1 is 16. Our pretend N is 4, and we're finding D. So we get 25 equals 16 plus 3D. Subtract 16. And we get 9 equals 3D. Divide by 3. And D equals 3. So we have D. That's one answer. What was the other thing they wanted? The first term. Now I want to check D and see if I got it right, because these are easy. So I'm going to add 3, and I'm going to get 19. Add 3, I get 22. Add 3, I get 25. So I know my D is right. Correct? Instead of adding, I can go the opposite way, and I can subtract. 16 minus 3 is 13. Minus 3 is 10. Minus 3 is 7. Minus 3 is 4. That's my answer. So I would highlight this one. Most people. Okay, this would be one that I would study. All right. Then we're going to do the next one. It says, a museum purchases a painting for $15,000. Word problems are the hardest thing because you have to figure out, first off, if they're asking for sum or just the term, and you have to figure out if it's arithmetic or geometric. Okay? So let's go through. A museum purchases a painting for $15,000. What do we think that is? T1. The painting increases in value each year by 10%. Increases by 10% of the original price. Every year, 10%, 10%, 10%. When it's a percent, what do we do? Pardon?
You add add like 100% plus 10%.
So it's a R, right? 0. Oh boy, I'm doing it like 30. Excuse me. So we do 100% plus 10%, and we get 110%. And then we don't want percent, so what do we do? Divide it by 100. And we get 1.1. So we have our R. What is the value of the painting after 10 years? So we know N is 10. We know it's geometric because we got R, correct? Whenever it's percent, it's R. That's a giveaway. Okay. Are they asking us to find T10 or S10? Are they asking us for what the painting is in the 10th year, or are they asking us how much the sum of the painting would be, the total of the painting for all 10 years? I don't know why you would buy it if you bought the painting every year for 10 years, how much would you spend? Did it ask for a total? Or does it ask you for what the painting is worth in year 10? In year 10. So what are they asking us to find? T10. So we know it's geometric. We go to the second set of our formulas on our formula sheet, and we know we're finding T, so we use the first one. So the formula is Tn equals T1 times R to the n minus 1. So we're going to do T10 equals 15,000. Is the number going to get bigger or smaller? Why? Because why? It's increasing by value by 10. And our R value is more than 1. If our R value is greater than 1, that baby's getting bigger. If our R value is between 0 and 1, the baby's getting smaller. Right? 1.1 to the 10 minus 1, which gets us, I don't know, it's a large number, 30-some thousand.
It's like 35,360.
And then because it's a word problem, we always have a statement. So it says, what is the value of the painting after 10 years? I just restate it. This was the English I liked. I would just restate the question and put some money.
If it doesn't tell you, you just round to the nearest whole number.
Yeah. And if I didn't specify what to round to, and you round to the nearest whole number, or you round it to the nearest hundredth, like cents, I can't dock you because I didn't give you a rounding rule. Okay. The value on like the grade 12 test, the diploma, will always have rounding rules. Yeah. The value of the painting after 10 years it is 35,169. Okay? We took this unit a little slower than usual because I also want you guys to understand proper studying techniques, because I can't take 2 days for review every single unit. It's just not possible. So you have to learn how to do proper studying techniques on your own. Like this, when we go through a review, you're highlighting it so you know how to study from it, right? We're going to go through the notes and know how to learn how to do that so you can do it on your own without me telling you how to do it, because I can't. I'll run out of time. Especially in grade 12, it goes fast. Grade 12 is 11 units in 16 weeks. It's quite quick. Okay, so here we have find the sum. Sum is a huge hint. I know I have 4 sum formulas I'm allowed to use, right? So I have to determine if it's arithmetic, I have 2 sum formulas. If it's geometric, I have 2 sum formulas. So if I can narrow it down to geometric or arithmetic, boom, I've knocked myself down to 2 instead of 4. So is the sum of the first 10 terms. What did they give me? N, and what do they want? Yeah, they want Sn, so they want S10. So I need everything else, right? Of an arithmetic series, did they have to tell me arithmetic? No. I know that that one is going up by 6, and this one is going down by 6 each time, right? So did I need to be told that they're arithmetic? No. How can you tell? If you go up by a value of the same amount or down by a value of the same amount, then it's arithmetic. If you have to multiply to get to the next one, it's geometric, right? Okay. So we do know T1 is 2, and we know D is 8 minus 2, which is 6. Since it's an arithmetic series, arithmetic is a little bit harder than geometric. Remember I told you that? Arithmetic is a little bit harder than geometric because with arithmetic, there are 2 things that are non-negotiable in both formulas. The 2 things that are non-negotiable are T1 and N. Do we have T1 and N? Yes. So is this one an easier one to do? Yeah. If I give you N, these ones are easy. If I don't give you N, you have that extra step, right? Okay. So I have T1, I have D, and I have N, and I have two formulas to choose from. Which one contains that? The second or the third? In the three formulas, the second or the third? Second, because I don't have Tn, correct? So I'm going to go Sn equals n divided by 2, bracket 2t1 plus n minus 1d. I promise you, if you set your questions up properly, writing down your knowns, you will do substantially better because you'll narrow yourself down to what formula you need to use, even if you're stuck, right? So always put your knowns. That's why you do it in chemistry, that's why you do it in physics. Okay, so we have S10 equals 10 divided by 2, bracket 2 times 2, plus 10 minus 1 times 6. So we get 5, and then 4 plus 9 times 6, which is 54. And so it's 5 times 58, which is, what is it going to be? 5 times 58? Yep. Now, does that make sense? I'm going to go 2 plus 8, which is 10, plus 14, which is 24. Then I'm going to add 6 more, plus 20 is 44. So 290 seems realistic. If you were like 10,000, it would seem off. Yeah?
Do you have to like work it out, or can you just put it in calculator?
The very minimum you have to do is show this 10 divided by 2, 2 times 2 plus 10 minus 1 times 6. If you don't show me that, I figure you probably just started adding the 10 terms. You're not going to get any marks.
But if we have that and then the answer.
Very minimum that I will accept with the correct answer is that, and then to the correct answer. But this formula has to be filled in, or else I'm assuming you're just going like this and adding them up. Yeah. Yes. So this one we need S10. We know N is 10. We know T1 is 45. D is 39 minus 45, which is negative 6. And it makes sense. I'm going downwards. The numbers are getting smaller. My D should be negative, right? Things should make common sense. If you understand what you're doing, you will do substantially better on this test. If things make sense, like 290, does that seem realistic? I'm moving downwards. My D needs to be negative. Does that seem realistic? Yes, right? If you understand why you're doing things, you will do substantially better in math than if you just memorize steps. All right. So we're going to go S10 equals 10 divided by 2. T2 times T1, which is 45, plus N minus 1, D. And then we get 5, 90, plus negative 54. So we get 5 times what?
144.
No, it should be 90 minus 54. Yeah. And then what's 5 times 36? Did you have a positive 6 instead of a negative 6? Because it's 9 times negative 6 would be negative, right? What's 5 times 36? 100 and? Yeah. Number 6, if I were anyone, I would be highlighting that one. That one's done the poorest on the test, but maybe we've done it enough that you actually rock with these. I don't really know. Why is this one harder than the previous one? It's an arithmetic sum, but what did I not give you? You don't have N, right, Xander? Oh, yeah. Totally. Why would I be bugging you? I have no idea either. Shocking. Okay. So, we don't have n in this one. And with arithmetic series, it's not optional. We have to have T1 and n. Both formulas use T1 and n. If we don't have them, we have to find them. Correct? So let's put down what we do know. We know T1 is 20. D is 14 minus 20, which is negative 6. Tn is negative 70. So I know I can use the second formula, which is shorter, correct? But I'm still missing n, and it's non-negotiable. Can I miss n on geometric sums? On geometric sums, am I allowed to be missing n? Yeah, one of the formulas doesn't have n in it. But for arithmetic, can I be missing n? No, so I'm going to have to use the first sequence formula to find n, correct? So that's why I highlight this one, because this one's done. This one people forget. So if our first step is to find n. And how do we do that? We do Tn equals T1 plus n minus 1d. Tn is negative 70. T1 is 20. And I don't know. And d is negative 6. I'm going to subtract 20. I get negative 90 equals n minus 1 divided by negative 6. Divide by negative 6. And what is 90 minus, what is it? Negative 90 divided by negative 6?
13.
Add 1, and you get 16. And then people feel like they've done so much work, they stop here. You've only just begun. Now you know n is 16, so now what can we actually find? Yeah, Sn, we can find S16. And because we have Tn, we can use the shorter formula, which is the third one. So the formula is Sn equals n bracket T1 plus Tn divided by 2. And to be honest, when you're doing daily quizzes as well, I'll highlight questions that I didn't get in a daily quiz right away as well. Because when you go to study, you can go back to your daily quiz and study the ones that were highlighted, right? Spend your time doing what you forget. So S16 equals 16, 20 plus negative 70 divided by 2. S16 equals 16 times negative 50 divided by 2. And what do you get? Negative. What do you get? Anyone? Basically 25 times 16, which I don't know. What did you get for an answer? Chloe?
I got negative 400.
Negative 400? Yep. Because 25 times 16, 25 times 4 is 100, and then 4 to 16 is 4, so it'll be 400. Yep. Okay. This one says for the geometric sequence. Did I have to tell you it's geometric? No. I'm going 1, 3, 9. Okay, I'm going up by 3, then I'm going up by 6. Like if you can't go up by the same number, it's geometric. You can narrow down geometric really quickly, because if it's not arithmetic, it has to be geometric. So 1 plus what gets me 3? 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. Well, it says 9. So it's not arithmetic, so it must be geometric. Correct? So let's put down our knowns. We also, I was nice and gave it to you. So T1 is 1. R, because it's not geometric, is term 2 divided by term 1, which is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Guarantees me. N is 11. It gave it to me. Okay. So they want T11. So I'm going to go to geometric, which is the second column, and I'm going to pick the Tn formula. Tn equals T1 plus n minus 1d. Try again, Lepp, because that's arithmetic. Tn equals T1 r to the n minus 1. So I get term 11 equals 1, 3 to the 11 minus 1. So term 11 equals 3 to the 10. Now you can put an answer, or often they'll just leave the multiple choice as 3 to the 10. Now, I'm doing a little caveat. Because this was a 1, it goes away, right? Because 1 times anything is itself. But what if it had been like this? This is just like an offshoot. This has nothing to do with this question, technically. What if it had what if T11 had actually been 2 bracket 3 to the 10? Is that 6 to the 10? Can I put the 2 times the 3? I told you that was illegal, right? I should be able to hand you a math ticket if you multiply those. This would be done. I could either 3 to the 10 times 2 and get an answer, right? Or if they left it, this would be the form. It would be done. Because the 2 and the 3 cannot join. You can't write 6 to the 10. Why? Let me prove it to you. Go 2 times 3 to the 10. Type it into your calculator just like that. 2 times 3 to the 10. So you're typing in 2 times 3 to the 10. Yeah, you can give an answer. Oh. Yeah, I'm just proving it. Because when we get to 3 to the 19, it's going to be way too big on the next one. I'm just saying, so sometimes I leave them as like 3 to the 10 instead of an actual answer. So if I go 2 times 3 to the 10, it's in front of you, correct? You have an answer on your screen? Now go 6 to the 10. It fights you, doesn't it? It's just like really big. It just looks really weird. They're not the same answer, are they? No. So can I go 2 times 3 and write 6 to the 10? No, they're not the same answer. For those of you who didn't believe me, maybe you do now. So I can get rid of the 1 here because it's a 1 and it goes away. The 1 did not join the 3 and become a 3. Do you see that? So when it's a 1, people think, oh, they joined together. They didn't. The 1 can just go away because anything times 1 is itself, right? This would have to stay like this. This is not equal to 6 to the 10. That would be illegal. So that's my little side note. I'm just crossing it off so you don't think it's somehow in here. So this one would be T20 equals 1, 3 to the 20 minus 1, which is actually 3 to the 19. And you can leave it like that because the calculator fights you. So it's fine. General term geometric are awesome because general term geometric, you just fill them in and you're done. There's no expanding, collecting like terms like arithmetic. So Tn stays Tn, and n stays n. So T1 is 1, R is 3 to the n minus 1. Now the 1 can go away, not because it joins the 3, but because it's a 1 times something goes away. So I can write Tn equals 3 to the n minus 1. Number 8 wants me to find the number of terms n. I'm being really nice. I won't tell you n tomorrow. Not tomorrow, the next day. Your test's on Thursday. Of the geometric sequences, do I have to say geometric? If I give you the first, second, and third term, I don't have to tell you what series it is. Right? If I give you the first, second, and third, that's all I need to do, give you minimally to not have to say if it's geometric or arithmetic. I don't have to at that point. Because you can figure it out. Does it go up by the same value, arithmetic, or does it multiply by the same value, geometric, right? So if I give you 3, if I give you 2, I have to tell you. If I give you 3, I'm done. I don't have to tell you anymore. All right, so I gave you 3 here and 3 here to start. So I didn't have to say geometric at all for this one. Okay, is this a sum or a sequence? It's not a sum, is it? So I have one formula to choose. That's it. This is the one where you have to get the common base. So I would highlight this one because this is one that people mess up as well or forget about. If it were me, I would highlight it. It's the top one of all the geometrics that people forget. Because you have to make common base. You can't just solve it by like reverse BEDMAS, right? So I'm going to write down what I know. I know T1 is 3. I know R is 6 T2 divided by T1, which is 3. And then I know Tn is 1,536. And I know they want me to get n. Pardon? What do you mean? Oh, I just hit myself in the nose, and yesterday I hit myself in the nose with a volleyball. That actually kind of hurt. I was trying to get a volleyball off the net and backwards so that like you could actually use it. And so I went like this. Don't ever do, but you have to get it to pop behind you. And I went like this, and it went poke right off my nose. And then my nose watered for about 2 sets. It worked out. It didn't bleed. I felt like that was a win. I didn't have a broken nose. I already broke it with baseball, so that's good. All right. What formula are we going to use? The top TN formula. Why? It's geometric. The moment I have an R, I can only go into the second batch, right? Like I need you guys to be problem solvers. Like if I have R, I only have these options, correct? If I have TN, I have two actually with some, but I have T1, R, TN, and N, which is the only one that has those four, the top one, right? I'm a problem solver. I figured out I need to use the top one, okay? Because this test can go really well if people just know what formulas to use, or really poorly if they're like, I don't even know where to start, right? If you know what formula, you plug in, you solve, right? So we have Tn equals T1 plus, oh my gosh, I keep trying to draw arithmetic so badly, R to the n minus 1. Tn is 1536, T1 is 3, R is 2, n minus 1. What's the first thing I do when I'm solving for n on geometric every single time? What do I do next? Divide by 3. I do not write 6 to the n minus 1. I do not do that. If you go 6 to the n minus 1, you're just done. I don't even mark the rest of it because you're going to be wrong. Okay? And in grade 12, we do the same thing. We do common base again. So if you join these and it's a 6, I don't have to mark the rest of your work because it's going to be wrong. Okay? So the first thing you're going to always do is divide that number over. So we divide by 3. And we get 512. 2 to the n minus 1. And then what do I have to do? How do I solve these? I can't do it algebraically. You don't know how. The only way you can solve this algebraically is using logs. And you learn logs in grade 12. So you are not doing it algebraically this year. Okay? So algebraically as in turning it to a log. The only way we can do it algebraically is by common base. So what base are we going to try and make these be? Base 2. We always make it be the base that's to the n minus 1, right? 2 to the what is 512?
1.
2 to the 9? So this is 2 to the 9 equals 2 to the n minus 1. What must n be in order for it to be 9? 10, because 10 minus 1 is 9. So n equals 10. B is a bit harder because it's fractions, and fractions make you guys kind of die inside half the time. But I promise you, you have a calculator that's expensive that doesn't for you. It really shouldn't be that hard. It'd be really nice if you did them algebraically, but I won't hang you up on it. So T1 equals 1/2. R is a quarter divided by a half. So if we actually want to do it algebraically, you flip and multiply, or invert and multiply, or reciprocate and multiply what you're dividing by. So we get a quarter times 2 over 1, which equals 2 over 4, which equals a half, or 0.5, which some people put. 0.5 or a half, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then our Tn is 1 over 2048. So we get 1 over 2048 equals T1, which is a half, 0.5 to the n minus 1. Now we're going to divide by a half, and your calculator can do this math for you, but I'm going to show it algebraically anyways because we're big kids and we can do it. So we go 1 over 2048 divided by a half equals 0.5 to the n minus 1. And dividing by half is like multiplying by 2. So you probably did it in your calculator and got the math anyways, but I'm going to do it algebraically. So you get 2 over 2048. And 2 over 2048 can reduce to 1 over 1024. Now you're trying to figure out 1 over 1024. You're trying to figure out 0.5 to the what is 1 over 1024. So you go 0.5 to the 2, 0.5 to the 3, 0.5 to the 4, 0.5 to the 10. So everyone type in 1 over 1024 in your calculator, you'll get a decimal. And then go 0.5 to the 10. What happens to their decimals? They're the same, are they not? 0.5 to the 10 is the same decimal. So this would be the same as 0.5 to the 10 equals 0.5 to the 10 minus 1. If this is one that, or sorry, n minus 1. If this is one you struggled on, you should be highlighting. So this is 10 and this is n minus 1. What must n equal? 11, because 11 minus 1 is 10. Then we're going to go over to 9. In the geometric sequence, T1 is 3, T5 is 243. They give it to me. I like writing it out and drawing it so I can see it. T1 is 3, T5 is 243. The common ratio, find the common ratio, so they want R. So we know T1 is 3. We know Tn is 243. And we know n is what? 5. So we're going to go and use what formula? Oh, and we need R. So what formula has all 4 of those? Yeah. Which formula has all 4 of those? The first one in the geometric sequences, right? So Tn equals T1. Oh my gosh, I really want to do that other one. R to the n minus 1. Tn is 243. T1 is 3. R we don't know. And n minus 1 is 5 minus 1. What's the first thing I do when I know Tn and T1 on geometric? Divide by 3. So I get 81 equals R to the 4. How do I get R by itself? Yeah, take the 4th root. So 4 math number 5. So if you go 4 math 5, everyone should be trying it. 4 math number 5, it's the one with the x. And then we put in an 81. You should get 3. You get 3? Now we should always be able to check it because we can multiply to get to the next one. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3, 27, times 3, 81, times 3, 243. So I know I'm right. I walk away from this question happy. If you struggled on this question, you're highlighting it. Remember? Highlight, highlight, highlight. Then what will you do? You will go home tonight, you will cover it up, and you will check it. Right? Okay. I want you to pull out your notes. We're going to finish the other ones tomorrow. I want you to pull out your notes so when you go through how you're going to study tonight as well. You're going to study tonight, you're going to study tomorrow. If you don't have any homework, I expect you to be studying. If you still didn't do your homework, that sucks for you. Okay. So you're going to go to your notes. Pull your notes out. Okay, these are the notes that are sitting in front of you. So what I do is I go through my notes. This is how I would study, because your notes have everything that you've learned, right? They have different things, and I would have been highlighting along the way, but if you haven't, you just got introduced to a highlighter, like Petrovic, you now can highlight away. Okay. So, oh, I have a marker. All right. I'm going to go over here where I can actually move it in here. So, here's my formula. Do I care about any of that? I have the formula on the formula sheet. Do I need to do any of that? No. Okay, we haven't went over any of these. These are the ones where they have the variables. Oh, when they have the variables, what do I have to do? I have to find D first, then I have to find D second, then I can set the D's equal to each other, then I can solve for X, right? Is that something that lots of you struggled on and forgot how to do? Yep, I would be highlighting it. What would I do if it were me? I would cover up all of the work and I would attempt to do the question myself, correct? Tonight, that's what I would do. Cover up the solutions. Do you need another one just like this? No, you need this one. Cover up the work and try and do the question without looking. You're probably going to have to peek the first few times. Hopefully by tomorrow when you go over it again, you're not having to peek again to look and see, how do I do this question, right? And then there is a try below. Each one of them has a try. So you can do one, and once you get that one really well, you can go to the next one, right? If you really want to practice again. If you didn't have to peek and you could do it without peeking, should you have to do 2 of them? No, do 1, move on. You don't need to do 80 of the exact same example. If you get one without having to look, good, move on. Why are you studying the same thing 14 times? right? There's no point. Okay. And this one says, write the first 4 terms of each arithmetic sequence if you have T1 and D. If you do one of these and you're good, do you have to do B and C? No. Maybe try whichever one's harder first. If you got it, move on. Here, given the general term, find the first 4. Do one of them. If you look at it and you're like, I can do this without doing the question, I don't need to do this, then don't study that part, right? Or do one and move on. Do you see how you can study this with just your notes? Do you need an 800-page review to go with it? No, you have a review. It's called your notes. If you fill them in quite well, you have a really good set of review. Okay, example 4. Determine the general term and the 50th term. Once again, cover up the answer. Do one. If you can do it, don't highlight it. If you struggle on it, highlight it and study it again tomorrow. See what I'm meaning on what you should study, go over it quickly, and then move on. Here, determine the number of terms in the arithmetic. So you're going to solve for n. If you get the first one, good. If you struggle doing it, what are you going to do? You're going to highlight it and study it again tomorrow, correct? Here, this one. I would look at B. B is the one that people struggle on, so I would highlight B. This is when you don't have the whole thing, right? This one's when you're given 2 terms. This is one that people struggle on. This is that 2-term one. How do you find n when you're given 2 terms if they're far apart and you don't want to draw out all the blanks? How do I find n? Do you remember? 30 minus 11 plus 1. Okay? This is one I would highlight because this one gets forgotten about all the time. The other ones, like you can go through them, sure, but there's ones that I know people mess up on. This is one of them. 30 minus 11 plus 1. You're not going to get the n. That's where most people struggle. Okay. I wouldn't worry about example 8. We're doing word problems tomorrow, so if you want to do one thing where you want to like narrow, not do as much of, don't do as much word problems because we're practicing them together tomorrow. Okay? Because I know word problems are a struggle and I know people need a little help. Oh, formulas, yay, they're on a formula sheet. I don't really care. I go to example 1, and I have to find a sum, and I'm not given an n. Wow, this is the one that people really suck at, right? You have to find Tn first, you have to use Tn first to get n, right? I would highlight that one. This one isn't as hard, it gives you n. Probably not as much you need to study this one, right? Because it gives you n. But what can you do when you're studying? You just cover up the answers with an extra piece of paper and do the question, right? Then lift it up, see if you're right. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand how to study it? Is it making more sense? Okay. And people are like, yeah, I'm not doing that because I'm lazy. Well, then your mark will reflect that. That's on you. That's not on me. Okay. Example number 3. Gives you T1, Tn, and Sn. Some people struggle on this one. I would highlight it. This one people are pretty good at. Example 4. This one here, you can practice. It's where you're given different pieces. Both of these are different. You can try them. So you get it, you cover it up, you try the question. If you struggle, you highlight it, you do the question again tomorrow. Yes? There is one. This one right here. Example 8. This is that one where you have to use the long sum formula. I give you 2 sums of an arithmetic sequence. Remember that one? And then you have to do elimination. Highlight example 8. Highlight example 8. Highlight, highlight, highlight. There will be, remember I told you there's going to be a question like this? I wasn't lying. There still is going to be a question like this. Where I give you 2 sums of an arithmetic and you have to use the long sum formula, leaving out the T1 and leaving out the D, and you use elimination to get them. That's this one. So that's what I want you to do tonight. I want you to go through, cover up, do it. If you get it right the first time, should you do about 8 more of them? No. Move on. You're fine. Right? Like, don't waste your time on things you know. Practice things you don't.